Put your seatbelts on and get ready for another exciting auto tour adventure to Cades Cove Loop, located in Cades Cove. Cades Cove is located in the northwest section of the Great Smoky Mountains and is reachable by one of two ways. One is you can take the 25-mile snail-paced twisty road from the Sugarlands Visitor Center, and the second is by going down Route 321, which is Weirs Valley Road, into Townsend, taking a left and enter the park and then follow directions. With over 2 million visitors per year to Cades Cove, cyclists and hikers have their own exciting opportunities. On Wednesdays and Saturdays from May through September, the loop is closed to motor vehicles until 10 a.m. Nearby Cades Cove Campground does offer bicycle rentals. On our journey to our first historic building site, John Oliver's place, we drove by a large grassy field inhabited by the only legal residents of Cades Cove, horses. These horses were probably employees of the Cades Cove riding stables, taking a break from their day's work under the shade trees on a hot 90-degree summer day. Cades Cove Riding Stables is the only park-authorized riding stables and is located at the Cades Cove Campground and offers guided trail rides. You can see Katie putting a few dollars into the donation box, and you might wonder why you see so many of these boxes throughout the park. Well, when the 800 square mile park was created, it used funds from the state of North Carolina, the state of Tennessee, and many large private donors. When the land was transferred to the federal government, Tennessee stipulated that no toll or license fee shall ever be imposed on the visitors. For the physically able adventurers, John Oliver's Homestead is reachable by hiking 1/4 mile along a mostly level, hard-packed earthen trail. There are 8 types of woodpeckers in the park, including the red-headed woodpecker you see noisily pecking away at the tree above your head. John Oliver lived from 1793 to 1864. John served as a private in the War of 1812. John and his wife Lucretia came to Cades Cove in the early 1820s. John Oliver and his wife Lucretia were the first permanent residents to Cades Cove. John and his wife built a notched corner cabin which does not need pegs or nails to hold it together. Chinks in the cabin were filled with mud mortar. This homestead remained in the family until the creation of the national park. John and Lucretia are buried in the nearby Cades Cove Primitive Baptist Church. The common raven you see perched over your heads is one of the 240 birds found in the national park. Like many buildings in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, things are not what they seem to be. The preserved Oliver cabin you see in front of you was not built by John Oliver, but was actually built by John's son's Bill in 1856. It is suggested that with the large amount of automobiles traveling the loop, especially with many stretching their necks to locate one of the Smoky's 1,500 elusive black bears, you will allow 2 to 4 hours to traverse the 11 miles of the loop. For those adventurers running short on time or out of fuel, there are 2 crossroads connecting the beginning part of the loop to the ending part of the loop. Historians believe that Cades Cove got its name when the first white people visiting the cove met a Indian chief named Cade, K-A-D-E, and over the period of time, Cade was changed to C-A-D-E. Our second stop on the Cades Cove Loop Tour will be the Primitive Baptist Church, which is actually number 4 on your Cades Cove tour map. Access to the Primitive Baptist Church is a narrow 2-lane dirt road which requires you to pull over upon approaching traffic. Cades Cove Primitive Baptist Church was established in 1827 with parishioners meeting in the members' homes until the original building was built in 1832. The Baptist church you are visiting today is not the original 1832 Baptist church, but was built in 1887 to replace it. Also established in 1827, was a graveyard containing almost 400 graves on 1.4 acres. While many of the tombstones have decayed over time, the oldest readable tombstone is Martha Gregory, who died in 1801. Once again, back on the main loop, we're heading to stop number 5, which will be the historic Methodist Church. With the large number of motor vehicles always traveling the loop, it is always appreciated when the slower-moving nature admirers move over to let the more anxious travelers pass you by. The Methodist Church you see before you was built in 115 days for $115 by J. McCampbell, a carpenter who later in life became the minister. The building before you was built in 1902 as a replacement to the original log structure built in the 1820s. You should note the 2 front doors to the church. It was common practice of the times for the males and the females to enter through separate doors and sit on separate sides of the church. Back on the main loop again and heading towards stop number 7, the Missionary Baptist Church. In 1841, the Cades Cove Missionary Baptist Church was formed by a group expelled from the primitive Baptist church down the street. In 1894, over 50 years later, the church was finally able to construct the current building that you see today. Life in Cades Cove improved when in 1867 John Cable built the area's first grist mill, which turned corn into flour and also was used to mill lumber. In the previous days, women had to use a mortar and pestle, and logs had to be hand-hewn. The Greg Cable house you see before you was built in 1879 and originally sat on 1 acre on Forge Creek Road. In 1940, the house was moved to this location for inclusion into the Cable Mill exhibit. Originally, the building housed the Gregg family along with a small store on the first floor. Well, we're back on the loop again. We've made the turn and are heading back towards the entranceway. Well, next stop is going to be stop number 15, Dan Lawson's place. Dan Lawson's home is stop number 15 on your loop guide map and was built in 1856 on property bought from his father-in-law John Cable, as Dan married his daughter Mary Jane Cable. The original house was built of logs, but was often altered using sawed lumber from John Cable's mill. Unique for its times, Dan's house had a handmade brick chimney, which was made from clay from area stream beds. In later years, the post office occupied the front porch. In the backyard, you can see the smokehouse, granary, and corn crib. With over 1,500 varieties of flowering plants and shrubs in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, these black-eyed Susans are attracting their share of butterflies. With time running short, we're going to have to leave Carter Shields' cabin for another visit. Carter Shields suffered a wound in the Battle of Shiloh, which left George Washington Carter Shields crippled for life. Carter built his cabin in 1910 and lived there for 11 years. Well, our Cades Cove Auto Tour ends here at the campground. At the campground, they have a nice store where you can buy ice cream, soda, snacks. They also rent bicycles, campsites, and the horse stables are here also. This is used for outdoor staycations. I'm glad you can take this tour with us. Please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and I shall look forward to our next auto tour adventure.